Hey, what's up, familia? Today, I'm going to show you all a private tour of my humankind journal and show you what I did. This is kind of like a zine. You build it exactly like you would build a zine, but it's modified in a very specific way. I cut a few things so that I can get a few extra pages, and then I tape some pages together so that I could get pockets. For example, here in the beginning, I have these items in my pocket, and these are just loose sheets that I was planning on writing something on and then gluing at some point. I'll show you what I mean. The purpose of this particular journal was to go out into the field and observe how people behave and what they do and how they act, and ask myself why. Why do they do this? So it's more like an experiment. I approach it kind of like a scientist is approaching some kind of a human experiment, if you will. And then I'm logging some of my interactions and some of the things that I find. All right, this first page, I started out with a question. And this question is, what is a person? What determines who a person becomes? Is a man a product of his environment? Is he destined to become something based on what he experiences? Does A plus B always equal C? Can man change his future? Can he decide to choose a different path? Can he take the reins from destiny and take a different course? And I'm asking these questions because I'm wondering why some people end up where they end up. You know, is it fate? Are they completely not in control of their fate? You know, is one bad thing happening after another that causes them to end up in this place no matter what they decide? Or do they have control over changing, where they would end up if they stayed the same person they were today? This one is about patience. It says patience. People really lack patience. They do not like waiting at all. And I wish I would have written more context here, but I'm assuming that I was at some store or something and someone was waiting and they were becoming very impatient. This one is an interesting one. It's people keep jobs they don't like. I'm pretty sure there was a cashier or someone, probably from McDonald's, that was really hating their jobs and they weren't doing a good job at it. It seems like customer service is dying out there. Some humans like to speak loud enough for others to hear their conversations. They love attention. This one I remember. We were at Disneyland. We were actually in California Adventure, and there was a guy who was having a conversation with his friends, and he was speaking loud enough for everyone to hear. He really was looking around to see if people were listening to his conversation, if they were reacting to what he was saying. And I think he really enjoyed that very much. And I just find that interesting. Some humans get angry for little to no reason at all. The emotion is so strong, it can cause them to enter an altered state in which they lose awareness. Have you ever met someone like that? Someone who gets so angry, they cannot be reasoned with. They just stay angry. And sometimes it's over the dumbest things, like they stub their toe or they got a flat tire or something ridiculous like that. It's not helpful at all to get upset. This one says humans have a biochemical and psychological responses when they interact with internal thoughts or external stimuli. These emotions are powerful. They are capable of altering physiology, perception, and behavior within moments. So someone could be really happy and then something happens outside of them, or they have a thought of some sort and they have what is known as a biochemical and psychological response, right? They become angry and they respond with very powerful emotions that clearly change their physiology, so they could see in their body language that they're angry or that they're sad or that they're, whatever the case may be. It alters their perception, so it blinds them, and it alters their behavior as well within moments, like in an instant. Their temper could change based on the weather or room temperature. The heat especially can make them irritable and angry. This is an interesting one, right? So I feel hot and the feeling or the sensation is so strong that I'm in a bad mood. I get really angry. Don't talk to me. Don't say anything. I respond in a bad mood. That's just weird to me. This one I got from a newspaper article. Improved mood and mental health. Natural sunlight stimulates the production of serotonin, a chemical that contributes to feelings of well-being. So you can start to feel better just by getting natural sunlight. Humans practice something called belief. It leads them and motivates them and guides them. They make very important decisions based on this. They go to war even. We're out here fighting each other because of what we believe. I wanted to switch things up, so I made this sideways. It says, do humans ever act without motive or motivation? Is there ever an act that is not motivated by the gain of something? Are humans always moving towards something or away from something in all they do? Meaning, is there ever an action that a human being takes that is not motivated to gain something or because they're trying to avoid something? That's a good question. Maybe you all can journal about it and let me know in the comment section. Humans have filters known as beliefs/biases that help create their reality, or their version rather. Everyone has ideas ideas, beliefs, and concepts inside of them that help them create their reality. But it's not really reality. It's just your version of it. I kind of messed up here. I wish I would have gone across, but anyway, it's going to be weird for me to read because everything's like cut off. Humans are curious and have learned a lot about the world around them, but know very little about themselves. They rarely look inward for answers to life's big questions. I find that very interesting. This one says humans have an advanced system of language, but suck at communication. Am I right? High five, anybody? This one is the one that frustrates me the most. We have so many words that we can use at any given moment, but instead we choose very limited, ugly words, forms of communication, and we fail to understand why we miscommunicate. This says humans are hardworking creatures. I want to also acknowledge that they're hardworking. I've come to know a lot of people that are very hardworking. This says humans have endured much from nature and themselves. They made a comfortable living for themselves. We have, haven't we? We've actually put up with a lot of weather and cataclysmic events. Nature has beaten us up, but we learn and we adapt, and we've made very comfortable living for ourselves. We now have incredibly well-built homes and structures and a system for getting food and all that other stuff. The human mind is spread too thin. They overwhelm themselves. This is a topic that I haven't even touched on, but the human mind is interesting to me because it's almost like a computer. Well, I think a computer is almost like our mind. But sometimes we spread our mind way too thin and then overwhelm ourselves. We need to learn to chunk big instead of chunking small. I'm still in the process of finishing, but that was my last entry. Humans have powerful technology in their pocket that they are not prepared for. We use these gadgets capable of helping us through our day-to-day adventures. They can answer challenging questions, but yet we use it to, scroll and entertain ourselves. Nothing wrong with that. I use it for that purpose too. It strikes me as odd that people aren't taking advantage of the power of their phone. Yeah. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me, familia. This has been my humankind, log, learning about humans and why we do the stupid things we do and awesome things that we do. I would like you to make your own and, go out there and explore and see what you can learn from human beings, and as a byproduct, learn about yourself.